And every chest that doesn't contain a dark matter can contain an adamant because we're working on wild treasures. And
it
here
looks
we
like
go.
we have a Iridia start from the starting screen, and it's an edge.
That's
Okay.
quite the team. They'll be ready to go pretty quickly. And there's that list of supplies that they started with. Our runners are getting going.
And that includes the adamant as our first key item as well.
A very desired item in the Highway to the Zima Zone flags, but tonight, it's just a rock.
Yep. If it doesn't give you access to somewhere else, it's really of not much use here.
Yeah, that's going to be a very big key, because instead of really worrying about getting more powerful, getting a stronger team, and getting more able to take on more and more stuff, the runners are mostly going to be worried about finding these 30 dark matters that the nice guiding way has come up and explained to us. So they're going to be looking at loot, a very different pattern than we've seen in the past.
Although, looks like something weird might be happening with the stream. It looks like, I know we're always hyped about stuff being in sync, but I think this is taking it a bit too far.
Yeah, I think we'll go and get that cleared up shortly. Meanwhile, we do see people going into Baron, looting, which this is very common. There's a dark matter right in the pot. That's always good to go and see. Those are going to be very valuable indeed. And while we're working this out, we'll just focus really on how this is going, where looting Baron is going to be very common. A lot of people go and skip Baron early in the Zima Zone, where maybe there's just a pot or something not terribly important there, but today every chest can be critically important to your progress, so they'll be going way out of their way.
Meanwhile, in the inn we saw was Yang, and I think that was the Antlion in the inn. Yang is it's a pretty good offensive character.
Yeah, and we found a Leviathan in the back bushes, which is very nice for that Ridio when she gets enough MP to start casting it.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're just.
It's always nice when you find those random summons.
Yeah, that T-Wild will go and give us literally anything, and well, Leviathan's a good thing to find with this party. Looks like we go and have, I believe, Dragus going up the mount front of Hobbs, while Fleary is going to the Mist Cave to try and go maybe take out that Mist and loot that. It looks like we're having a slight issue with Maggie, but it's getting resolved.
Yeah. Project Dia going looting the dam can and finding a couple more dark matters there too.
Definitely a very big thing for them to find, and Dragus going and learning the Ashura summon from Mount Hobbs, which, a little annoying, it doesn't clear the ice in the animation, but when you walk out and back in, the ice will still be gone. So he can go and loot that those chests, see if there's any dark matters for him to find there, and maybe get the character on Hobbs if it's someone he's particularly keen on.
Well, LQ Flurry taking out Ashura that was at the Mist Dragon spot. And finding a drain sword as well.
Not exactly the most exciting thing, but a little bit of information. He knows he's not going to have to deal with that boss later, but he probably wanted to go and find a few dark matters there. And we see that it is a Palom on Hobbs guarded by dark imps. I don't see a terrible reason not to take them, but it's also, again, you don't really need to worry too much about your team power, as you just need to get through enough stuff to get to those chests and find dark matters.
Mm-hmm. And since I presume that we're on the no free characters flags, which we are, so characters might be at a bit of a premium, so you might just take what you can get.
Yeah, on the flip side, it is T-Wild. You can find adamant armors in chests, so maybe you just decide, how far can I just ride this edge in Rydia? Once Rydia gets a bit of MP, she's going to be just destroying everything. Maybe I just really care about riding that rather than trying to go and get more treasures and want more characters and power.
And might incentivize trying to get into the underground so he can get through Dwarf Castle and get the age up as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff to find, and another thing to keep an eye on is we don't have shops to sell anything but cabins, so some items will be very precious to find. Hourglasses will be very helpful because key items are in trap chests. This is vanilla key item locations and trap chests, so that's something to keep in mind.
Might also mean we might end up seeing more of Sylph Cave than we normally do.
I don't know if even this is going to drive people into Sylph Cave. Some people really don't like that place. Can't imagine why.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
But Dragus being the first of our restream runners to go into Antlion, lots of treasure chests there, lots of stuff to find there, and we do need to find a way underground, and we might even need to find a way to the moon, though I think our runners are really hoping not to have that, as there's a lot of trap chests in the moon.
Oh, yes.
And you don't want to go and be fighting those trap chests on the moon when you can be like getting Earth Crystal and clearing that treasury. Finding more dark matter in Antlion, so that's a good pickup for Dragus.
Mm-hmm. Keeping track of how much dark matter each character has, our wonderful trackers, Smapty and Valvala Skunk are they've got their work ahead of them for keeping track of all that this time around.
Yes, this is definitely it's a brave new front in tracking. We appreciate both their help for working on this and getting this tracked, because this is the numbers next to our runners, which we often use for place, is going to be the denotation for how many dark matters they found, so we can tell at a glance who's currently doing better than their opponents. And Fleary and Maggie the cat are definitely looking to be in pretty prime position for their dark matter counts.
And Dragus Cloud finding Odin in here in Antlion Cave. And what's the boss here? It's Bahamut. Oh boy.
Well, I don't think there's going to be too much trouble because that edge is pretty fast, and Bahamut is not really going to get the 5 turns they need to go and cast that Mega Flare. I'm not even getting 1 turn, it looks like.
Yeah, when you have edge right at the start, you have a good bit of offensive output right out the gate.
Indeed, and getting Warp, which maybe he'll put to use to try and go and...
Oh, wow, really?
Looks
it's
like
almost like it was planned that way.
Decided he wanted to go and take a different cave today and brought his summon with him, so that is some big power for all of our runners to clear Antlion, but they might not be too keen on that because, again, you might not need a lot of that power. You might just want to go and clear more stuff, and you would rather have a magma key or even a hook if it means getting to underground faster.
Mm-hmm. So there is a key item at the Baron Inn and also Yang, so it'll probably be only a matter of time before one of our runners heads in there. Meanwhile, Maggie is fighting Mom Bomb. Looks like in stats and Watery Pass, I believe.
I like this play. That's Watery Pass is one of those places that's frequently skipped and forgotten, but there are treasure chests there. It's not that long of a fight with this team, and going and picking up a dark matter or 2 here could be a real advantage, like she just did. So
and there's one already.
That's a dark matter she might have that her opponents won't. Or excuse me, they might have that they won't. Excuse me. And that is going to be the very interesting divergence here. It's very, very you can't go and use your Highway to the Zima Zone strats because you don't need them. Meanwhile, we do see Dia going into Fubul and getting ready to fight there. Maybe they'll find their magma key or way underground while everyone else is still doing a bit more looting. Maggie going for the full clear Water Pass and finding 2 assassin daggers in the first chest in the back. That's...
Oh my. And looks like we got Calcabrina.
That seems like a pretty reasonable fight for this party. There's a Bahamut summon in play, and there's Edge with his flame. That's good AoE. Hallam also is in play, so I don't think they're going to cause too much trouble today.
Nah, I don't think so. And just one flame just wipes them all out.
Indeed. And to answer the question, did Dark Matter exist in the US release? Yes, it did. It was a steal from Zeromus. It's there's a reason why I probably never really cared about it.
Yeah, that's the most useful place for it. And there's the hook.
Oh, goody. We've got a hook seed and I wonder if we'll have our runners go and try and take out more key item spots, hoping for a magma key hidden somewhere rather than trying to dive this hook, because that's a bit of a time commitment.
Not to mention, there's a couple of... You have to go through a couple bosses just to take that route to the underground, and that might be a bit of a thing depending on what bosses are there. I experienced that myself recently.
Oh yeah, the hook route can always be all sorts of fun, but speaking of fun, Maggie finding more dark matters in the front of Watery Pass, that's a pretty big advantage for them.
Mm-hmm.
And Vival is going pointing out there are more chests that we can get access to with that hook than what we can get access to with the magma key, which is an important point. You do want to hit as many chests as possible, and anything that's blocked by a key item, the hook route is kind of annoying sometimes, but getting more chests, you like that.
Yeah, like the Eblon Cave does have a lot of chests in it, to be fair.
Yep, when we see Dia going and taking that hovercraft and bringing it with him, we'll see if he's going, or excuse me, she is going straight in there, or if, yeah, they're looking at ordeals.
Okay.
I think Dia is very interested in trying to find a way that is not the hook route to the underground.
Well, then there's a few chests here, too.
Very true. It's only 4 chests, so not high probability of giving you an extra dark matter.
Nah.
But if it gives you something, if it gives the Earth Crystal or the Luca Key, that could be a very big swing for Dia, because that's a lot of key item, lot of chests.
And if nothing else, it also, you're getting information about bosses that you probably won't find later on.
Very true. Fleury is picking up their hook along with Dragus looting the back of Watery Pass, so that's 2 things. Dia just walked up, found their dark matter, made a save, and then is just walking out. So they did find a dark matter in the very last chest, which is to their advantage. But
yeah, I think he did save to a different save slot, so
I wonder if they're going to go and peek the bosses down in the hook path and decide, no, if this is something awful, I'm not doing this. I'm doing ordeals and hoping for something better.
Yeah, that does make sense. And also check in Silveria. There's a couple of item spots there too.
Yep, and they find another dark matter. Oh. These are some pretty out-of-the-way locations that, without shops having anything really interesting to sell, there's not a lot of reason to walk into Silveria, so you could go and that could just be a free dark matter for Dia. Meanwhile, we do see Dragus is getting through Fabul and will be rewarded with their hook. Maggie is going into Antlion and clearing that out, so they will be getting their Bahamut summon. Fleury is just leaving Fabul, and we'll see where they go. This is
and Dia is cleaning out Watery Cave, so everyone is pretty much retracing their steps here. Although Fleury is taking a stop at Toroya.
Yeah, I wonder they're going to go and look at the back bushes there, which is another out of the way location that is frequently skipped because it's a little annoying to get to. But there are 4 treasures in the back of Toroya.
Oh, there's one, and a ribbon as well.
That ribbon could be a pretty big help, depending on how things go. If Golbez shows up in an annoying location, being able to guarantee someone survives is very helpful, and status immunities in general can be helpful against some of those chests if you need to go and dig out a trapped key. And Fleury is going to the Chocobo Forest in the north, and I'm going to guess they're taking a black chocobo to loot Cave Magnus.
Yeah. And I did not know that spot existed.
Yes, there are 3 spots in this forest, 1 in the foot and 2 in what is commonly referred to as the Chocobutt.
Huh. And got a dragon whip out of that, which is nice.
Yeah, that is a very helpful weapon for Rydia. It increases her speed and agility and strength, which can be very helpful in these chests. If you have Bahamut, it will reduce her casting stats, but Bahamut usually does enough damage that it's not really an issue.
And with Fleury cleaning out Cave Magnus here, unfortunately, without Twin Harp, won't be able to do anything to the Dark Elf. But At least there's a lot of items, and we're already seeing some dark matter to be found here, so this trip is already paying off.
Indeed, this is definitely something that can go and give him a little bit more of an edge up there. And fun fact, if you go and fight Dark Elf without the harp, Dark Elf doesn't try and kill you with spells. Dark Elf just punches you for 9,999 damage. And we see that Dia has finished looting all of the water paths that they're looking into, and they're walking into Kitebo to go and maybe check the pot and maybe check the character in the bed. This is definitely a bit of a gamble, and it gave him a power staff.
I think that was that Cecil?
That was a Sid in the bed.
I just saw blue, so.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we see Dragus going and looting the open Troya treasury, getting 1 dark matter out of the 8 chests and a Gaia drum, which could be pretty helpful. Meanwhile, Dia is going around and they're going in to find the Ashura and Mist Cave. We'll see if they fight them and take a shot at looting this, while Fleary is warping himself out of Cave Magnus, and Maggie the Cat is getting to Fabul and will be getting their hook very shortly.
So I'm just curious, why are some of our runners taking this Ashura fight? What purpose does this particular boss spot serve? Is it just for experience, or?
If we find Visoya, we do have the Visoya challenge flag on, where every boss you defeat will go and give him back some of his spells, because he starts with a very limited selection and less HP.
True.
So there's a benefit to that, but it could just be, I want to loot Mist Cave, I don't feel like resetting, flying to the other side, and coming back around because I can just kill Ashura in one swing. So that might just be their main reason for killing Ashura. And we do see Dragus fighting the Flame Dog, which is, again, KT. Trapped key items can be in trap chests, so there could be a key item here. If this is the Earth Crystal, that could be a pretty big benefit for Dragus.
Be very convenient, but it's the Twin Harp instead.
Very interesting. We did see that there were some dark matters in Cave Magnus. Maybe Dragus will go and take a trip out there to see if it's worth clearing everything out.
Meanwhile, Project Dia is looking through Eblon Castle.
Again, that's 3 trap chests, so you can go and maybe pull some key items out of there, and it is a number of chests, which we want to go and find those dark matters.
Oh, yes.
And
then there's a longsword. That's an improvement for Edge.
Indeed, and it is wild, so we can go and have adamant armors in any of these chests. There's a dark matter in the north, in the middle section, right staircase, so that's more dark matter to be found. We're in double digits for almost all of our runners here without even getting to the underground. This is we're really trying to go and mine this overworld for as much dark matter as we can until we have to start clearing that hook route, which we don't even know it's blocked by yet.
Yeah, in this mode, it definitely pays to know where all the hidden stuff is.
Oh yeah, I can't. I imagine something that's going to come up a bit more and more is people who are trying to go and do 399 out of 399 chest runs, where 399 is the total number of chests in the game, and that's the challenge is trying to find all of them. And we see Dragus making use of some very unusual tech. Warp works in the Tower of Zot. You can't exit, but you can warp back floors, and that saves a fair amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
I'll see where Dragus is going. Well, Fleury is going and looting, and Fleury did go and get their twin harp, so I wonder if Fleury's going to take a trip back to Cave Magnus to decide, no, I'm not doing music today. I've already done that walk.
And here's our first trap chest for Dia. Gotta be careful with these black cats. If you don't one-shot them, they can one-shot you back.
Oh yeah, and Palom's taking a good punch because he was left in the front row. So,
ooh dear.
Edge is going to go and have to carry this fight, and Edge is taking a fair amount of damage. This is scary. Yeah. I don't know how well they're going to. Yep, there goes. There's a paralyze. Yep,
and down he goes.
Can't go and rely on the hourglasses that everyone loves to go and use for these fights, because why fight fair when you can just stop everything? and Project Dia having to go and reloot all of the chests that they missed. And
I seem to
After that
recall
wipe.
Maggie searching through these chests in Toroya. I believe I saw a white spear in there.
that does sound correct to me.
So who knows if we'll find Kmain, but
If we don't, we do have an edge we'll throw it at least, so there's some value.
true
And
enough.
Maggie the cat also going into the Tower of Zot to do some looting and is probably going to find a twin heart for themselves as well. Very interesting seeing how much runners are willing to go and really hit all of these spots, because Zot's not exactly quick to get into, and it is only about 6 treasure chests compared to getting underground, which will have a lot more, but it is going to take some time. Maggie the cat, I believe, is making good use of their assassin daggers, as that was a swoon proc on that flame dog.
And Project Dia taking another stab at this trap chest. Oh, throwing an illusion up. Okay.
Yeah, these trap chests are no joke. These are something that, again, hourglasses do a good job of trivializing them, but if you don't have hourglasses, you then need to go and find some other way of dealing with some of these monsters, and you're not exactly at the level you're intended to go and be to deal with them.
And I didn't see where it was, but Dragus Cloud is fighting Valvalis.
I imagine this is in the Baron Inn, yes, this is the second fight in Baron Inn, where they're getting their Yang, and they're also getting, another white spear. Not quite where they were hoping for, I'm guessing.
No, probably not. But they do get a Karate Man to get some extra damage in.
In the end, Yang is going to need some levels, which you're not going to be super inclined to get, but he could just simply be another body to punch in some of these fights. And speaking of bodies to punch, the Flurry found the Mad Eggers, who are more than willing to do a lot of punching for you.
And it's looking like, did Project Dia fail to take out that one trap chest again? Looks like he's going around getting all those chests again, I think.
Yeah, that's
or maybe not. No, maybe he just made a beeline for the back and working our way back forward. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, it looks like they're just leaving Castle Evelyn now and now going into Cave Evelyn, the first of our featured runners to go into Cave Evelyn. We'll see what they find in there and who that character is and who the boss is going to be. Getting a dark matter in the first room, that is pretty convenient, all things considered. And finding a boomerang to back row edge so they can go and throw everyone in their party in the back row. That will give them a pretty good defensive boost.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, we see Maggie the cat going into Cave Magnus with that twin harp. We'll see if they're going to commit to actually taking out this, doing this twin harp check and giving us music, or if they're going to do what everyone else has done and just loot the place and leave. And Fleury did go and get a key item from that trap chest, but I didn't. It was a package, it seems.
Yep, looks like it. Yeah, which will give access to another character, but that's
no treasure.
No key items. No.
Not
nothing
unless
in that regard. So we'll have to see if the party member we find in Mist Village Takaipo is worth the time.
Yeah, or if we find the very rare and amusing Demas hidden behind package holding something important. Because if Demas is holding something like an Earth Crystal, that would be a pretty big leg up for Fleury, as they would then go and get access to that whole gated Troya treasury chest, and that's 16 chests or so. That could be a good number of dark matters. And Fleury has gotten the rat tail from the chest that gave Project Dia a fair amount of trouble.
And there's a ribbon there too. I didn't notice that before.
Wild Treasure is definitely going and giving it a lot, and Dragus is taking out those Mad Ogres with Nice Dragon as well, so they're going to get their package. Meanwhile, Project Dia is going into Cave Eblin and has found the Staleman chest, so we'll see if they're getting something, but Maggie the Cat is giving us music. We'll see if maybe we can get that switched over.
Yeah, unfortunately, I have the stream muted because I'd be hearing myself talk, and that'd be awkward.
I'm sure we'll be able to get some level of assistance on that. On one of our trackers, Smapey telling us it is Matoya's Cave.
Aha.
But on Project Dia's screen, we're seeing that it is Edward as our character and one of the Mylons as our Rubicant spot boss. Not necessarily the most scary thing, but it could go and be unpleasant depending on how things go for them.
And Edward is not exactly the most pleasant thing to find either.
Not unless you want to go and use the ever so fun degenerate Edward strats on Zeromus, who is not appearing in the seed, but who is appearing in the seed is Wyvern.
Boy. Oh boy, okay. Gotta love these Wyvern sightings. And is using Weak instead of the usual Mega Nuke that we so enjoy seeing.
Unfortunately, if this Bahamut doesn't finish off Wyvern, we're going to see a Mega Nuke.
Oh, okay.
Thankfully,
Bahamut did the job.
Yes. For those of you who are unaware, if you cast a summon on Wyvern, Wyvern counters with Mega Nuke. And yes, we have the Whichburn flag on, which means that the Mega Nuke is changed to a random different attack.
And it all amounted to a white shirt.
Defense Rudia, but not exactly what you want. Sorry, I seem to have slight internet issues at the moment.
Okay, I thought it was just me.
Yeah, it seems like we're just having a little bit of internet issues. Where it seems to be getting worked out though, as we can see that Flurry has cleaned up Baron Inn, Maggie the Cat has cleaned up Cave Magnus is returning to their hovercraft, and Dragus is going into Cave Eblin, while Project Dia is going ready. I believe is going down. Let me go and refresh quickly.
And Flurry's turning in the rat tail and getting the Earth Crystal for it.
That is going to go and be a very big benefit for him, because that Earth Crystal gives him a lot of chests.
Oh, yes.
And with Maggie getting in there, Maggie is pretty likely to go and get that Earth Crystal as well, which Maggie does have the lead of all of our featured streamers when it comes to those dark matters. Maggie only needs 13 more, while Flurry is at 16. Pretty close, but this could change pretty quickly.
It all depends on where our runners search and where those dark matters end up being.
Yeah, and Maggie has been very thorough in searching. Ooh, and we see that the King Queen Eplin spot boss is Kanizo. This could be a little ugly with this team.
He's throwing an Excalibur. Edge throwing the Excalibur. That should do a good bit of damage.
Knock down that wave to not killing all the children, which would be a very big boon. Sylph coming out to go and heal up the rest of the team after Wood Warp went down, and Palom queuing up a lit 2. That could go and take out either what needed to take out Kanizo.
And Flurry cleaning out the Toroid Treasury. I saw a Cat Claw in there.
It would be good for Yang, but I don't think we really want to get him that much experience. And it seems a slight bit of hiccups have come back again.
And one of our trackers mentioning in chat that Knazo isn't really much of a threat in this particular spot. I think I tend to agree because I want to say that the King, Queen, and Blonde aren't exactly much for magic strength, and that's the majority of what Knazo does.
Well, it's more the HP. The King, Queen, Island spot has 6,000 match HP, and that wave is based on 4% of Kanizo's current health. So if you go and knock it down pretty quickly, that can go and save it. That is why Kanizo is very scary in the Rubicon spot, which has about 25,000 HP, and 4% of that is still a pretty good chunk of change for anyone in this at this point of the game.
Or if Knazo shows up on the moon or something.
Yes, Knazo at Elements is a very, very terrifying thing, and you are pretty much guaranteed to need to have to do a little bit of agility manipulation to throw out Thor Rages to knock out those waves.
And in the Rubicon spot, we have Mylon Z.
Which, not exactly guaranteed to be terrifying. There are ways you can go and deal with his punches. You're in the back row. You can have some decent armor. There are pieces of gear that will give undead resistance. And Edge is not the worst character, so I think Project E is going to go and have a fair amount of not too much trouble getting through this spot.
Meanwhile, Maggie is taking on a trap chest in Eblon Castle. I don't think we had seen before. It's the one in the basement.
I do believe you're right, because I believe we've only seen the Black Cats and the Mad Ogres.
And it's a rune axe.
Some people really like that, and we see that Flurry has found the crystal. He is going to be ever so happy to have that crystal that he can't use to fight Zeromus.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that you can't win that particular race that way.
I'm sure some people are more than content to not have to go and fight Zeromus for a little bit.
Yeah, it's always nice to try something different for once.
Yeah, Zeromus has a whole league named after him. Let's go and give Dark Matter his time to shine. Let the chest go and be the true heroes today. But Dia is still working through Mylon Z.
I believe Dia had used a moon veil on Edge there, so that's definitely doing some work in avoiding Mylon Z's attacks.
Yeah, Mylon Z is only going to punch you, so if he can't go and hit you, well, he's going to definitely lose this battle of attrition. Though if other runners can go and get in quicker, that will go and let them catch up. And we see that there is a moon veil in the what I like to consider the free out of the way chest on the way down. So everyone is probably going to have that moon veil available to them for this Mylon Z fight. Oddly enough, if you want a rather cheeky strategy, if you've got that Yang who comes with a fire claw, you can go and take it off Yang and give it to Edge, because Edge uses claws. Mylon Z is quadruple weak to fire. That would definitely be a pretty big swing in damage.
Oh, yes.
But this is more Excaliburs getting thrown at Kanizo's more people going through Eblin Cave to find their treasures. Getting a little bottlenecked here for the hook, but our runners have done a very thorough job of looking and finding every treasure chest they can before getting underground. And it looks like there's not quite 20 dark matters on the overworld. So that means when it comes to the underworld, there's going to be a lot of frantic searching for some good treasures. And I'm curious to see how our runners are going to go and spread out. And it looks like that Dragus is through that Kaniza fight, while Dia has gone and finished the Mylan Z fight and will be our first runner underground at 35 minutes and 35 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And what I'm very interested to see where they're going to go first after this, as that's there's a fair number of chests open to them, and I don't know which ones are going to be most interested in hitting, because we don't have a source of exit in this party.
Well, one possible location would be the Feymarch, the Cave of Summoned Monsters. There's a good bit of chests, and I think there's only one trap chest in there. So if you know which one that is, you can just avoid that one and clean the rest of the place out.
Indeed, you'll might have to do a little bit of safe scumming, though. If you have certain setups correct, you could go and get a Quake off or get a Bahamut off before those warriors in those chests get a chance to act, though it does require a fair bit of agility manipulation.
Well, that's assuming you just you want to take that chest in the first place. I mean,
Yeah.
Granted, there's a chance that it's got a key item in it, but there's was it 20, 21 chests in that cave? Something like that?
There's definitely a good amount of them. I think the big prize would be to find a Luca key. But we do see Dia is choosing to go and prioritize looting Dwarf Castle, which we'll see if it goes and gives them much to work with. Talking to the dwarf to go and open up the back of the castle to get in there as well. The 3 lost checks that are very easy to skip because it's not really fun to go into.
And it's not, we don't really have much of a reason to go through this part in Randomizer.
Yeah, mostly if I come through here, I'll come in from the back because I want to hit that healing pot, restore my team, and then just walk through here and then forget to exit and have to walk through the entire castle again because I'm a dingus. We do see all the rest of our runners are still getting through Upper Babel, though Dragus has become our second runner to get through Upper Babel and is now going and making their way into the underground, while Maggie the Cat is going and clearing out that 4 Mad Ogre's chest, and Fleury is finding that Moon Veil, so everyone's catching up. Fleury does have the most dark matters, so they might seem to be behind on progress, but they're definitely ahead on count.
It doesn't matter where you find it, just so long as you do.
Exactly. You don't need to go and clear the seed. You don't need to get Zeromus. You don't need to get a Darkness Crystal. You just need to get 30 Dark Matters, and that is the true measure of being in front. And Dragus is doing us a favor, showing us who's the boss on top of Zot, on Lower Babel, and it is Octomam. Ooh, and Dia is going to the back of Tamara. Let's see if they go and give us that validation a certain community member is very fond of. I believe is a computer something specialist. But Dia is just going through all of these chests, getting whatever they can, and not prioritizing key items, but getting a lot.
And Project Dia is heading into Feymarch. Though it looks like it might be heading straight for the end, not checking chests along the way.
Yeah, that's definitely something that could go, and missing chests can go and be very costly, though maybe they'll save in Feymarch and work back up.
And I see Dragus Cloud is in the same area as well.
Yeah, Dragus is choosing to come straight here after clearing the hook boss and getting underground.
And there's the tower key.
That's another key item check. It's another easy boss from tower, but I don't know if you're going to need to use it, to be entirely honest. If there's that many dark matters that Fleury's at 20 before finishing off the hook boss, you might not need to go and try and clear out tower. You might want to just hit all those chests in tower rather than killing bosses.
Well, hello, Crystal Sword.
Oh, the Crystal Sword. It's such a great weapon, unless you don't have a Cecil and don't want to do ordeals and don't need to kill Zeromus.
Dragus Cloud encountering the one trap chest, but decided not to take it.
Yep, they were pretty deep in and deciding, all right, I'm just going to go and I know where it is. I can just hit important chest. I don't know if they found many dark matters, but they know exactly which chest they don't have to touch anymore. Meanwhile, Fleury is getting into their Mylan-Z fight while Maggie the Cat is working on their Knizo fight. And it looks like Project Dia is out. Okay, Project Dia went to the bottom of Land of Summon Monsters, found their items, and is now going to go and be looking for that trap chest. And Dragus is also finding that Crystal Sword and getting really, truly taunted because they don't have a Cecil, they don't want to do ordeals, and they don't need money because the shops are free and only sell cabins. Yep. That is truly the worst Crystal Sword in this game.
Yeah, you can still throw it, can't you?
You cannot throw the Crystal Sword. Crystal Sword is unthrowable. Because they, I guess they really want to make sure you didn't truly disappoint yourself.
Yeah, since it's the strongest sword in the game, I believe. So yeah, I guess they want to make sure you didn't get rid of it by accident.
Indeed, 200 attack power plus 15 strength with vitality and willpower.
There's a couple of dark matters there for Dragus Cloud.
Yep, Back of Tamra is definitely of good value, but Dragus did not go and validate his run and find out who is the job working as today. We do now see that Fleury is through their Mylan-Z fight, and we know there's a number of rather easy access dark matters around, so Fleury's going to go and catch up on that front pretty quickly. Meanwhile, Dragus is finding an exit and a dark matter in Kokol Smith. Nice. That's a pretty good find. Though I don't know at this point where the best place to use that exit is. Maybe it will be in Dwarf Castle, walk in the back, grab all those chests, pop that exit, and save a bit of time in rather than walking back out of that castle.
So as far as item density goes, where would be the next logical place to go for either Dragus Cloud or Project Dia?
I'm going to go and say I would like to see probably Lower Babel, because while you do have trap chests there, the alerts are pretty easy. They're not that high health, and it's not too difficult to go and just straight up kill them in one shot. So that would be my next thought. Sylph Cave could be tempting, but there are a lot of trap chests there, and if you don't have a way of killing them quickly, resetting all the time could get very, very time costly in time. But it looks like Dia is choosing to go and fight the Warrior's Chest, which maybe that'll give them a key item. If there's a Luca key down here, that is a lot of chest as well.
Assuming you can get through this fight, they are hitting for a decent amount of damage, but let's see. Well, we do have a Bahamut going through.
I believe that Bahamut is going to go and solve a lot of problems for Dia. And there's Dia exiting Feymarch, and we'll see where they go next. And it looks like Dia is...
The stream is being somewhat uncooperative. I did not see what that was that Project Dia got.
But what I do see is Project Dia is going into Sylph Cave.
Good few chests in there too, and quite a few trap chests as well, so it might be able to find some key items that will give you access to more things.
Yeah, the Luca key would be my suggestion for the highest value to find at this point.
Yeah, I agree.
Because we do know where the Earth Crystal is. That is something that Fleary has found, which very helpful item. He definitely gave Fleary some dark matters, and if you're looking for that, you will probably be losing a bit of time. But there goes those marbles and dark trees. We'll see if that's a key item coming here. It is some experience. Just a Bacchus wine.
It's a Bacchus wine instead.
There are worse things to find. A Berserk for one fight is pretty helpful in this setup at the moment. Ooh, but not having a heal for Edge, so you're going to have to go back outside and use a cabin or tent.
And since cabins are free, no sense having it. You should never run out of those.
Yep, no, it is kind of annoying to have to take that time to walk all the way out, use a cabin, go through the animation. So that's, I can see that getting a bit annoying. Meanwhile, we do see that Fleary and Maggie the Cat are in Dwarf Castle looting it. Fleary just walking out, while Dragus is turning in their rat tail and getting their Earth Crystal. That might go and shoot them ahead on that dark matter count. We'll see where they go from here. Dragus now deciding to go and loot the front of Watery Pass. This is maybe this is where they're saving their exit.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Because Watery Pass is a pretty long dungeon overall. So being able to get out of there quickly would definitely be a nice thing.
Yeah, other runners have just walked through here or used warp to go back a few rooms, so that could give Dragus a bit of an advantage.
I didn't realize there was chests in that waterfall there.
Yeah,
I've learned all sorts of things today.
If there's something else about Dark Matter Hunt, it'll go and teach you all the different places that chests are hidden throughout the seed. I wonder if someone's going to get desperate enough to start checking all the Chocobo Forest for one or two Dark Matters.
Oh, we know there's one, at least the one by Toroya.
Yep, that's there's Flurry getting their tower key, and this is Dia is going into making their progress through Sylph Cave as well. So maybe Dia will be able to pull out enough dark matters to start or to be able to start finishing this.
Yeah, our runners are starting to get pretty close to 30 dark matters, so you start to wonder where should I go from here.
Yeah, you're tantalizingly close. Maggie is at 25. That looks to be our current front runner. So there's a lot of places you can go, but then there's, do I want to go and gamble on a key item or a one-off check? And we see Fleary is heading back up to the overworld at 24 dark matters. This is going to be, I'm curious where they're going because they did a pretty thorough clear of the overworld so far. But not so thorough to go and get Watery Pass, it seems. So that's where they're going to be going now. And Sylph Cave is apparently just not giving Dia what they need. That is very unfortunate because this is a pretty hefty time investment. This is yet another 6 ghost fight. That can definitely take a fair amount of time.
And as you saw the crystal sword on that last one.
Oh boy, a crystal sword for all the damage we need to do to single targets and for all the vessels we have after clearing ordeals.
And for all the money it's worth, too.
Yep. So we're really running out of places to check. Lower Babel is the main place I believe is open. But we do have a first place finisher. Zilch has finished with a time of 51 minutes and 32 seconds. GG to Zilch.
Oh, wow. GG.
I wonder if Zilch found a key item like that Luca key and was able to go and just grab some dark matters, or if it was some other seam that they managed to go and hit. And to answer the question from chat, there is no spoiler log generated for this because we spoiler log will go and change the generation, and we don't want to go and give access to where all the key items are.
Although that one big treasure chest room in Toroi, I don't think there was much for dark matters in there.
True. It looks like I think after finishing that, it's going to put Dragus and Fleary at the same number of dark matters. With 26 being the number for our on-stream runners. And I think Dragus might be going and getting ready to clear the Tower of Zot. Which with 4 dark matters, that's dark matters to go. That's maybe they're hoping for a Luca key. Or a Baron key.
And there's a couple party members there too, but I think we're a bit late in the game for that at this point.
Yeah, I don't think there's many places where you can go and... Honestly, I think the biggest thing you can go and find from that is a exit caster, and there's not many places left that you can go and use exit to get out of quickly.
And what's the boss at the Magnus Sister spot? Looks like it's the Baron's soldiers? The guard? Oh, it's the guards. Okay.
Yep. The Baron guards. Mages counter with piggy and size, depending on what you attack with. Not probably going to counter much of anything with this dragon to the face.
Nah.
Meanwhile, Maggie the Cat is venturing into Lower Babel and is looking for dark matters there and is finding a alert, taking it out with a Leviathan.
Yeah. Knocking out trap chests. Let's see what this one holds. It's a strength ring.
Well, on stream, I believe Fleary is the closest to 30 at now 29 after finding that Ordeal's dark matter, so they are 1 away. Meanwhile, Dragus has found a Cecil, still a Dark Knight, because we don't really want to fight those 3 bosses and Ordeals.
No.
And a Kmain.
And a Kmain as well, okay.
I'll certainly take a Kmain over an Edward with this party, to be honest. But
yeah. So it all depends on. Well, we do have a couple of white spears, though. That all depends on whether you already threw them with edge or not.
I believe we also pulled out an Avenger somewhere, which could be very helpful as well, because that Avenger is a pretty good sword.
Yep, sure enough, there's the Avenger.
Meanwhile, Dia is just steadily progressing through Sylph Cave still, and we see the Magus sisters are in the Valhalla spot. Maggie is finding more alerts and taking them out with Leviathan, and Fleary is also searching Lower Babylon. We do have our second place finisher of Invenerable at 55 minutes and 27 seconds. GG's to him as well.
GG.
Certainly seems like there was a fair amount of looting to be done, and then we're getting close to where we can just finally start cleaning out and hitting that magic 30 number.
And on that note, I noticed that on the trackers, Maggie's found the darkness crystal.
I wonder if they're going to go to the moon. I don't think they're going to go to the moon.
Well, there are a good bit of chests there. Good bit of trap chests, too. I think it's a bit late in the game for that.
Yeah, and those trap chests can be very deadly. I would not want to go and play around with those trap chests when there are other chests around to go and grab. Yeah, the alerts, I think our runners had a boomerang. They might be able to go and get quadruple damage on the alerts. Alternatively, if there's a Thunderclaw around, Edge could go and reliably one-shot the alerts, because the alert is a machine and does take 4 times racial weakness from thunder weapons.
And Dragus Cloud is paying a visit to Cave Magnus. I know there were some dark matters here. I don't know if it's enough to put him over the top, though.
Yeah, I believe this will go and put them close to that 28 number that Fleury is at. But Fleury did find that darkness crystal, which was just in a trap chest in Zot, or in Lower Babel, excuse me. I keep wanting to call this place Zot.
They all look the same after a while.
They're towers, they've got the good music, but they're... Zot, we can't go and find on a map, unfortunately. It's trying to go and be a little too fancy, I guess.
Ooh, Dragoon Spear. Looks nice.
The Dragoon Spear is always everyone's favorite spear, I think. Damage to dragons is always helpful, and it just sounds really nice. But Fleury is one away, 1 dark matter, and Fleury is done and ready to go and finish off the seed. Third place is still open, as we have only had 2 finishers so far.
I'm curious, our top 2 finishers, I wonder what places they may have gone that are different than what we've seen here.
Yeah, it's going to be very hard to tell. I'm going to have to go and see what they go and look at that spoiler race channel in our Discord, which, if you aren't following our Discord, feel free to come and join us. We've got a lot of things coming on. We've got lots of channels and resources and all sorts of good stuff and good news to go and find here if you're so inclined. And a link to the Discord can be found on the Free Enterprise website. Yeah, it looks like Maggie the Cat is finished everything they're going to do underground and is now heading out. As that's the first time they went and crumbled those mountains, but And Maggie is checking the Chocobo Forest by ordeals and finds a dark matter. That could be enough to go and let Maggie snipe from Flurry, because we know there's one there. There's one on top of ordeals, so Maggie will just need one more.
And apparently, at some point, Flurry had found a pink tail.
Don't know if that's really going to matter, because I don't know if Flurry's going to be trying to get into any more fights at this point.
Yeah, probably not.
When we see Dragus going in, up ordeals, going to find that one dark matter there. Flurry and Maggie are both one off. Flurry going to go and trying to pop one out of Sylph Cave. I don't know if he's going to have much luck, because Dia did not, but
I don't think so.
Maggie is hopping into the Enterprise and going into, looks like they're checking Mist Cave. They'll find the Assure there, and I don't remember if there's a dark matter there, but that could be what they need.
Possibly. So the Assure here will just be a speed bump at this point.
Indeed, but it looks like we missed. Dragus comes from behind and takes them both out, hitting the 30 dark matters and finishing, being our third place finisher with a time of 1 hour, 1 minute, and 32 seconds. GG Dragus. We'll see if we get him here for an interview. And we are joined by our third place finisher, Dragus. GG's, congratulations on your finish. How do you feel about that seed?
I feel okay, seeing that I did get third.
Yeah, this was definitely a very different type of race in general. How did you feel about just how this type of race is?
It's interesting, to say the least. Just going for chests instead of needing to go for bosses.
Yeah, that's something we were noticing, where you didn't really need a lot of power, and so finding good stuff like those crystal swords didn't really help you much.
Yeah. And then like Edge had all the power I need, since getting all the good swords to throw.
Yeah, you did find a lot of stuff. You did find the Cecil and the Kane, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. At some point I shouldn't have gone back up there.
And meanwhile, Flurry and Maggie finished within seconds of each other. I'm not in the race room, so wasn't able to see the time there. But GG
Maggie
to the both of them.
At 102.30. Looks like there's just a slight difference in the delay, because they both finished at 102.39.
Oh, wow, really?
They have a 0.36 second differential, with Maggie coming in first and Flurry coming in second. Maggie coming in fourth and Flurry coming in fifth. But do you have any other thoughts on the Sea Dragons? Any thoughts on the format in general?
It's a good format. I'm liking it.
Oh, that's definitely very good. Let's see if we can go and get Maggie and Flurry in here, see if they have any thoughts as well. And after a little bit of discussion in chat, it does appear to be that Maggie and Flurry are technically tied. So that's the first time I've seen that on stream, to be entirely honest.
Yeah, always a dramatic moment seeing them that close.
Indeed. We'll just go and grab them in there and get their thoughts as well, because this was definitely a seed. And we are joined by Maggie the Cat. GG's on the 4th place finish, Maggie.
Thank you.
How did you feel about how that seed went?
It was really fun. It was nice to see an edge there with the Iridia start, since she's pretty squishy at the start. Edge really carried for the most part for pretty much all of that seed.
Yeah, though that Bahama out of Antline was certainly an interesting pick as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Although she had a lot of good summons. You know, there was a really early Sylph and a Leviathan, so I think that she would have been pretty useful and powerhouse either way, even with it. So she was really good at clearing out the mobs, the big groups, and then Edge just taking care of everything.
Always nice to have options.
Yeah, definitely. Just trying to find that one last dark matter right at the end of there and finding it in the Chocobo Forest that I skipped right at the very beginning. I was like, should I go there? Nah, what are the chances of it going to be there?
Of course.
Yeah,
I consider that there's a total of 45 dark matters and you only need to find 30. It's like, oh, I'll find some elsewhere.
Yeah, definitely. That's a risk you take with this kind of seed. Trying to deciding if you're going to skip the one oddball chest that's out of the way, but that could always be the one that you need.
Yeah,
of course, that sort of thing is really only that big of an issue in races like this. So if you're doing it casually, it's like you'll find them eventually. It's not really that big of a deal.
Yeah, definitely.
And you did manage to mitigate that by choosing to look at the Chocobo Forest by Mount Ordeals, which also is a few chests, but it is 4, which is a bit more than the 1. So you got a good mitigation factor there going by pulling 2 out of that Ordeals landing.
Yeah, that and Mist were the 2 that I decided to skip when I was clearing out the overworld, because they only have 4 chests each and they're kind of spread out. Mist is a little bit more condensed, but it's got the boss there that you have to fight unless you go in the front. So that's why I decided to skip those when I was clearing out all of the overworld. But then when I needed the last couple, I was like, well, I better go clear these out, because otherwise I'm going to have to raise the big whale and go up to the moon, and that's a whole cutscene.
Not even considering Sylph Cave?
I would probably go to the moon before I go to Sylph Cave, since Sylph Cave has got so many trapped chests, and moon, at least, you could do Cave Bahamut, which has got some untrapped chests, and then the Lunar Path, which has only one trapped chest, which I would rather get those before going to Sylph Cave, I think, and see if I get anything, either the dark matters that I need or a key item that would open up more chests, like the Earth Crystal or Baron Key or something like that.
Yeah, the Earth Crystal was in play. The Earth Crystal, I believe, was behind a rat tail, which was found in Eblin Castle.
Okay, yeah, I had the rat tail, and that would have been one of my other moves as well, was to turn that in and see if I got something that would lead to some other chests that I didn't have access to.
Yeah, that is definitely that was a high desirable item, but I don't think the Troya Treasury paid out in that many dark matters today.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, but overall, super fun. I really like this flag set and the new beta. It's been a lot of fun to experiment with.
Yeah, how did you feel about that starter set from the... We started with no shops, and you can only buy cabins. Well, could only buy cabins from shops, but you did start with some items. How did you feel about that, as that is another new beta feature?
Yeah, and especially with this particular flag set where shops are empty aside from cabins, that's super useful. The life potions and the cure 2 potions that you get are basically the only guaranteed healing items that you're going to have through the game, and I definitely made use of those. I did a few life glitches, and then I used the cure potions as needed, and even the tents that I got. I know that cabins were available, but I didn't actually ever buy any since I was just relying on those tents and a few other consumable items that I picked up in chests along the way, so I didn't have to stop into shops. So that's a pretty nice new feature that they've added. I really like it.
That's always good to hear. It definitely, again, this beta is bringing a lot of interesting features, which I agree those are some nice things to have in a seed where you can't go and actually buy any of those resources. It's very nice to have just to start with. So, do you have any final thoughts?
Just that, like I said, it's really fun to experiment with the beta, and glad that it's been so successful. Thanks to everyone who's been working on it, and thanks to everyone here who has, worked on the restream, the commentary team, and the trackers. I know we had 2 trackers tonight, and of course our restreamer Demarine tonight. So always happy to run in a race like this and to be part of the community.
Right. Thank you. We'll let you go.
Absolutely. Have a great rest of the night, and GG to everybody.
GG to you. And now we're also joined by Fleury. Fleury, congratulations on tying for 4th.
Thank you. Is it a tie? Is it really a tie?
Well, there's we don't go that far on the stream, so we're gonna call it a tie today.
Fair enough.
How did you feel about that seed?
I probably ended up making 2 mistakes that cost me up to 3rd, but I don't think would have made the difference between 1st or 2nd. The first was not doing the back of watery pass. Reading from spoiler log, that did have 1. And if I had 1 more, I wouldn't have had to do Sylph Cave, and that was probably about 2 minutes right there, just constantly resetting and whatnot. The other was not having to take the Baron Key fight, or I'm sorry, the Baron Inn fight. Not that it was terribly long or anything like that, but I just didn't get anything out of it, and I would imagine a lot of the other racers just did not do that fight. I always get a little worried going 3 characters into a hook fight. I mean, even with T4 and a bajillion chests, there was surprisingly little amount of edge weapons for all the treasures we checked. So I was still a little concerned that maybe darting wasn't going to get the job done.
Yeah, I was going to say, you found a lot of things to throw for characters who you probably weren't going to have. Cecil and Kane were on top of Zot, so that was found eventually, but not many people went out of their way to find characters.
Yeah, I don't think it's a terribly time-efficient way. You kind of want to get underground, and you'd want to get one of the Hook or Baron Key, because those are like the 2 big, gets as far as like extra chests. And in practice, if I had gotten at least one of them, I almost always had 30 without having to do Sylph Cave, and I just didn't. It didn't work out this time because I missed a spot. But otherwise, I feel like my routing was pretty good. If I take out the Sylph Cave, I'm under an hour for about 250 chests or so, which is usually pretty good. I'll have to go back and watch Zilch and Invent and see where the routing can get better. But otherwise, I was pretty happy with putting off South Watery Pass until I found the one exit, which I did find in Kokol. So I saved some time there. Hook fights went about as well as I think they could have gone. Yeah, that's pretty much about it.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on the format in general? Just instead of having to go and fight Zeromus, to go and have to find some open chests and find items rather than preparing your team for some big slog fights.
I think it's definitely a nice change of pace. I think in this particular flag set, I don't want to say you have to learn to fight with less when you're opening up 100 T4 chests, because you're usually pretty well armed, but you do kind of have to cut out a lot more than you might be comfortable doing, in whether or not you balance the hook between, is the hook fight going to be easy enough for me, or do I just not do stuff and go and get chest? The Magma Key, this particular format, I think, is just open chest, don't worry about boss fights. It's all there, pretty much anything you need, and you'll get a couple just from doing the trap chest. I do like the objective system, I think is incredible, and definitely shifts up the looting meta and the character meta, so I'm really excited to see how it goes. And I think the flags for next week's races are going to be amazing, so I can't wait to practice them this weekend.
Glad you're having fun with this. This beta is definitely amazing, and I'm glad that all the work our developer board has put into this.
Yeah, it's really good.
Do you have any final thoughts?
No, that's about it. Appreciate you guys taking the time to do commentary and restreaming and all that, and I'll catch you next time.
Thank you very much, and congratulations on your finish tonight.
Thank you very much.
And meanwhile, Project Dia appears it might be heading moonward. We might actually see some stuff on the moon here.
We know it's not 100% necessary, but it's definitely, if you're not feeling the other locations, this is definitely a great place to go. And again, if you enjoyed this race, follow our runners. Their links are in the chat, and always go and shout outs to our restreamer, Demarine2, who has been doing their best to make sure everything's running as smoothly as it can. Our trackers, Mapedy and Skunk, who are going and tracking all the craziness of these things coming out of chests rather than just having to focus on a few locations. They're now really having to pay attention to everything that's going on. So thank you to them as well. And thank you to my co-commentator, Melee Wizard.
Yeah, I'm glad to experience commentating this for a lot. Oh, looks like Project has not going to the moon, it's going to the Giant instead.
I like this because there's only one trap chest in the Giant, and Last Arm it's not terrible. There can go and be a bit annoying, but it's usually not a horrible fight and not a horribly drawn out fight. So this might go and be to their benefit. It's always fun to go and see people venturing into the Giant, as it's a rather neglected spot. And we do see first chest is Last Arm. That's not the luck you want to see. But Edge is doing good work. We're going and getting the stop is getting taken out, but it's not taking out Edge, so this is going to go pretty smoothly.
And I believe from seeing the credits on our other runners, I believe this is where the pan is.
If the pan can go and lead to a Luca key, that could be lucrative because that is a lot of chests, and Project Dia just only needs one dark matter, so just something to go and get them out of there will be much appreciated, I think.
Mm-hmm. And there it is.
Second chest, just to, first chest, Last Arm, second chest, dark matter, just to rub things in a little bit. Meanwhile, we have had a 8th place finisher in the form of Mechalink, and we had a 7th place finisher in the form of Antidel. Antidel finished with a time of 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 48 seconds, while Mecha finished with a time of 1 hour, 16 minutes, and 27 seconds. GG to both of them. And there is Dia finishing with a time of 1 hour, 19 minutes, and 18 seconds. GG to them.
GG.
We'll see if they're interested in coming in for an interview. And we are joined by Project Dia. GG's on the finish. How did you feel about the seed?
I clearly need to play more seeds with trap chests. I have no idea where those things are.
And we are joined by Project Dia.
Well,
they
it
did
get
get randomized. How did you feel
Yeah.
about the seed?
Well, yeah, but I still don't know all the chest locations except for the ones that I would go to in a normal seed.
Yes, that is definitely that can definitely be tricky. This is
explore with these alternate flag sets. It definitely send you to places where you wouldn't normally go to. So it's definitely a learning experience.
Yeah.
So, what are your general thoughts on the getting through that seed in general?
It's pretty fun. It's very different. I was kind of just focusing on just avoid the key item locations, oddly enough, because I realized that there's only a few that actually open up a lot of chests you can get. Luga Key opens up some, Darkness opens up a lot, and then Hooper Magma opens up a lot. But other than that, it's just Earth Crystal opens up the one, then Baron Key opens up some. So it's not actually that big of a deal to be focusing those key item locations.
Very true. That's definitely an interesting thing to see coming out here, where it's not about building a team to take on a lot of fights. It's about just finding places to loot and looting them as quickly as you can.
Yeah.
How did you feel about the team you had for this?
I felt pretty good about it. Going into the Ebon Castle at the beginning was probably too rough. And I'm not sure if Darkmatter can be in trap chests or not. Maybe, I don't know.
I don't believe that Dark Matter were in trap chests this time around under these flags.
Okay, so if it's mixed in with the key items, then it can't be.
I think the dark matters are excluded from trap chests, just other chests, untrapped chests.
That probably would have helped because at first I wasn't sure, but then after I just kept dying, I was like, okay, I'm just going to commit to the idea that they can't be in these trap chests, and then just loot everything else.
Yeah, that definitely seemed to go and start helping out a bit more. Is those trap chests definitely take time.
Yeah, especially before you get good spells or where you can actually survive attacks.
Yeah, Rydia's starting with Rydian Edge was an interesting start when you got a Bahamut and a Leviathan summoned pretty quickly.
You got Bahamut, Ashura, Sylph, Odin, Leviathan, just all of them just at the very beginning. So, okay. Actually, now that I think about it, Odin would actually probably be really good in this flag set to take care of trap chests.
Odin is definitely a very niche spell that it's easy to forget about, because in a lot of our normal modes, you don't really want to go and fight normal enemies. You want to go and be fighting those bosses who are immune to it.
Normally I just don't find it to be worth ever teaching because it works on so few of the actual fights you do in the game. I just never bother and just sell for money.
You're not the only one. I have the similar opinion as well.
Yeah. But yeah, it's interesting. It's definitely something that you have to adjust because it's just so different to what you're used to doing.
Yeah, that is definitely something that this beta has been good about. How do you feel about the beta in general so far?
I'm a little iffy on some of the item changes, with hourglasses being taken out of shops. Because I find that it doesn't really... It just kind of makes it a bit more tedious to get through the early game, not really much harder. But overall, I've been enjoying it. The wildish flags is really fun. Just oh hey, this guy just opened up insane gear for me. So, I'm enjoying it for the most part. It's pretty good stuff. And then just the objectives adds a lot of variety to it. So that's really nice.
I agree. It's been interesting seeing all the different ways you can go and make free enterprise seeds. It's I'm looking forward to see what our future races are.
Yeah. So there's definitely a lot more we can do now. So just kind of these really weird objective combinations we can do.
Indeed.
And of course, you can always just have it select a few at random and just let the seed decide what you have to do.
And that's always a fun one.
Agreed. It's always fun to just need to go and decide on the fly what exactly you need to throw in there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, do you have any final thoughts on the seed and the race tonight?
Just thanks to you guys for the restream. Thanks for commentary and tracking. Yeah, it's a good time. People should come out and join these more.
Indeed, and thank you for being restreamed so we can go and have a show tonight.
Yep.
All right, and with that, that is the end of our stream tonight. That was a pretty interesting race, don't you agree, Melee Wizard?
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'm looking forward to seeing our new races. These beta flags have been very interesting. They've been, again, the objectives go and add a lot to the game. The new modes are a very different way of playing this compared to the Highway to the Zima Zone, which was, again, a very interesting and fun set, but this is a very different way of playing the game, and I'm excited to see what we get coming forward.
Yeah, and especially considering that these objectives, you could either have it be just an instant win like here, or you could have those conditions give you the crystal afterwards, and then you can go after Zeromus. The fact that you can choose between those is also nice.
Yes, it's definitely... I am excited to see all the different ways we're going to go and have new races, maybe we'll go and have new and different events coming up. I am very excited for Free Enterprise, and if you are too, feel free to play some seeds yourselves with www.ff4fe.com. There is a Discord for you to join to go and talk about it if you're curious about it, and feel free to just hang around and chat. But for that, I believe is going to be the end of our stream tonight. I believe we're going to be going off and raiding a fellow community member who's doing some Free Enterprise tonight, so feel free to stick around and say hello. So, thank you for watching. Have a nice evening. I am Baka Shinopi.
And I am Melee Wizard.
Have a nice evening, and have a good night.